Hey YouTube, what's going on today? Vegasstacker here, stopping to do a video for you. I do the reading and research, so you don't have to. So you can turn this on while you're brewing your morning coffee. Maybe you're cooking dinner, brushing your hair. I don't know what you're doing. Getting ready for the day to head out there and play. Whichever it is. Appreciate you stopping by and watching this video so I can give you my thoughts and opinions on this. Came across an article from the Forbes. Says the signs are there. The gold standard is coming back. So what is the gold standard? Let's go over here and see the definition for you guys here. The gold standard is a monetary system in which the value of a country's currency is directly linked to gold. With the gold standard, countries agree to convert paper money into a fixed amount of gold. That fixed price is in turn used to determine the value of its currency. For example, say hypothetically, the U.S. sets the price of gold at $5,000 or $500 an ounce. The value of the dollar would be 1/500th of an ounce of gold. England was the first country to officially implement the gold standard, coinciding with its large discoveries of the metal. The Bretton Woods Agreement established that the U.S. dollar was the dominant reserve currency and that the dollar was convertible to gold at the fixed rate of $35 per ounce. But that all came to an end in 1971 when President Nixon said no thank you. Moving on to this article. The signs are there. The gold standard is coming back. That's the title of the article by Forbes by Steve Forbes. So he goes on to say, the contrary to the numerous myths based on ignorance, the system worked. The U.S. was on a gold-based system for 180 years until the early 1970s. Says we never had inflation when the dollar's value was tied to the yellow metal, and the U.S. experienced a great long-term economic growth in human history, the greatest long-term. Since the greenback's link to gold was severed, our average historic growth rate have fallen by about a third. Median household income today would be at least $40,000 higher if our traditional pattern of growth for those 180 years had been maintained. Nonetheless, he goes on to point out the signs that the changes are here. One of the signs, he says, is the central bank in recent years have been purchasing gold at record levels. Buyers include China, India, Russia, and a number of other countries such as Poland. These countries are reacting to growing doubts about the long-term value of the U.S. dollar, which in turn is a symptom of the perceived decline of the United States. Another sign he points out is cryptocurrencies, originally a high-tech cry for help in the face of increasingly unreliable fiat currencies. The problem here has been that most creators of crypto, notably Bitcoin, don't understand that a currency must be stable in value if it's going to be used to conduct commercial transactions, especially long-term contracts. So basically they're saying cryptocurrency fluctuates so much that it's hard to be used as a value to buy and sell goods. That being said, if you're anything into cryptocurrency, you might know the story of the pizza that was bought with some ungodly amount of Bitcoin, which would be worth an ungodly amount, seeing how there's no stability there. Also, he says there's a handful of cryptos that are tethered to gold, but they haven't yet achieved the credibility or built the mechanisms to be widely used. Nonetheless, as governments flounder in their monetary policies, that will change. It goes on to say that the binge of debt creation, both public and private, will inevitably kindle crisis that cannot be easily extinguished. Total debt in the world today is more than $300 trillion, an astonishing 3 times the global GDP. And of course, if you follow this channel or any news out there with metals, you know that the BRICS nation is out there, which originally was Brazil, Russia, India, and China, and later South Africa, BRICS, which now includes several other countries. Oil giant Saudi Arabia is also considering joining. India last year began experimenting with gold-based government bonds. Monetary expert Nathan Lewis, who co-authored our book Inflation, What It Is, Why It's Bad, and How to Fix It, observes, these would probably be very popular with investors worldwide. From the start of the floating currency era in 1971 to the present, a gold bond paying 4% would have outperformed all stock and bond markets worldwide. So this being said, he has faith, or he has thinking, that gold-backed currency is going to come back into effect, which it might, and it would be interesting to see what they would value the price of gold if they did. If they did go to gold-backed currency, what do you think the price of gold would be? Throw it down there in the comments below. Let me know what you think. I'm not sure if it'd really be a good thing or a bad thing. There are advantages and disadvantages of this being said. Some of the advantages I'm going to go over here in another article that I came across. It says in its heyday, the gold standard offered numerous advantages. It helped countries maintain stable currency values, which many felt improved predictability for businesses and provided greater economic security for consumers. Businesses were able to invest and expand more easily thanks to the stability of the gold standard offered and the economic growth its dependability promoted. Another advantage is keeping governments accountable by not allowing them to print currency at will, which, this government we have right now loves to do that. They love to print money just to send to countries that are at war, or bail out banks, or, hey, line their pockets. Who knows? They all have their reasons. And then it goes down to say, without the ability to manipulate the money supply, nations couldn't influence the value of their currencies as in done today by central banks in the absence of the gold standard. And because the gold standard was widely adopted, it standardized foreign exchange rates. Let's scroll down here and see the disadvantages that they come up with. Disadvantages. For all its benefits, the gold standard often made it difficult for nations to effectively manage their economies. Having the gold standard in place limited governments' abilities to make strategic use of monetary policies, like restricting a nation's ability to finance national defense. The gold standard also had the potential to cause deflation, as it required a country's government to have large reserves of gold upon which its currency was based. For a country with insufficient gold reserves, an increased demand for paper currency might go unmet, as the government would be unable to back the creation of new currency. This typically leads to economic recession. So that being said, if it did go to where the U.S. was, or where the dollar was backed by gold, I think it'd be an interesting situation. Takes a little bit of the control out of the government's hands, which we all know they don't like to give up control. So, will it happen? Who knows? This is just his opinion, and it's an interesting one to think about. It'd be cool to see what would become of gold if that did happen. Not sure if the gold price would go up or down. What do you think? Do you think it would go up? Do you think it would go down? I don't know what it would do. That all being said, really appreciate you guys stopping by and checking out the video. As always, if you get a chance, hit the thumbs up button down there. Hit the subscribe button. Heck, share the link if you like to. If you don't like my video, tell me in the comments below what I could do better, what I need to do, what I should do. And on that note, appreciate you guys. Enjoy your Memorial Day weekend. Thank you for those who served our country and sacrificed. Until next time, I will catch you on the flip side.